Both of you have had career paths, you at the ripe old age of 20, that the characters haven't been, these like rom-com, girl meets boy. They've been really characters where vanity is left aside, or they're strong in a different way, or it's not about getting the guy. Was this a conscious decision? You know what I mean?
Fuck yeah. That would be so boring and limiting. Who wants to be a handbag? People are rich. Women are rich. There are so many different types of humans and so many different stories to tell. I think it would be so limiting to only make those kinds of movies. There's certainly room for those kinds of movies, and I enjoy them too, but I don't want to spend my working time on them.
Yeah, I've actually only been talking about this recently because, I think when I started out, I was a kid. An awful lot of it was to do with luck, the fact that I was in the films that I was, and they were very much character-based, and they were never even just your typical little kid or a girly girl. And to be honest, those kind of characters have never interested me. I don't really particularly like watching them on screen. And as Toni says, and I'm starting to realise more and more as I'm coming into my early 20s, that a woman has got so many layers to her, and there's such a strength in women, I think. To not explore that is such a shame. It really is. And so, yeah, I've been very conscious about that as well. Just playing people who, could basically be a man or a woman in a film. And that's why I love what Toni does, what Kate Blanchett does, what Meryl does, because always it's never been about their sexuality, the way they look, how sexy they are, what they're wearing. It's always been about what's going on in their head, and that's what we need to see in cinema.
I think there's a huge and unhealthy imbalance in terms of the stories that are told. I have to say personally, I have nothing to complain about, but I know the problem is larger than my own experience. And I think it's a problem that seeps into our society at large. I don't quite know how to fix it except to try to tell stories that represent real women, and to try to get into producing and start films from scratch that represent women in a real way. I want my daughter to grow up seeing real women on screen. Possibly it's got to do with people who are in the positions of power and financing, who make the decisions about the types of films that are made. Also, there are people who are passionate about making films, and there are people who are passionate about making money, and those people kind of stick to a very boring regime of formulaic crap.
Just to say as well, I think that women really need to support each other within the industry. I think it's really important that we're not being told by men or executives or studio heads or anything like that, anyone, also women, that we need to be in competition with each other, that we need to be bitchy about each other behind the other one's back. I did an audition for something recently, and there were other girls going up for the same role, and we all went out afterwards and hung out, and it was great because we were able to just go, you know what, fuck all that, let's just go and we're all in the same boat, we're all actors, we all love what we do. To be able to support each other, to put everything else aside, and I think in TV they're really starting to do that. I went to the panel yesterday with amazing Lena and Kristen and Mindy and Genji, and it was really inspiring, and it really gave me a little bit more motivation to kind of go, yeah, I think we can do it. I think it's starting to get there, and even with things like Stockholm, that was written and directed by a woman, and it was very much a female-focused film. We just need to keep going at it and really support each other, I think.